Good evening, everyone. It is February 19th, 6:32. We're calling together the Lunenburg Board of Assessors meeting here at the Ritter Building at the lower level conference room at 960 Mass Ave. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised this meeting is being recorded and will be available over the Lunenburg Public Access channel on Facebook Live on the Public Access Facebook page. https://www.facebook.com/lunenburg-public-access-cable-157-427-270-975-305 /. The recording can be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel after the meeting. The meeting will be held in person at this location. Members of the public are welcome to attend. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting will not be suspended nor terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in any specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. By the way, we had some technological problems last time. We did kind of suspend the meeting while we tried to work on them and then went back into the meeting. So we are trying to accommodate you. From a computer, please use the link below and I'll read it off to you to join the public meeting webinar. It is Zoom meeting, https://us02web.us/j/811-5200-2194. That meeting code again is 811-520-2194. You should not need a passcode. From a telephone, dial this number, 888-475-4499, and enter that same webinar ID, 811-520-2194, #. If you've not registered for Zoom, you will be asked for your name and an email address. No participant ID is required. Just press the # when asked. Telephone users may use the *9 to request to speak after joining the meeting. Computer and app users may use the raise hand feature to request to speak. The agenda lists all topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed, in fact, may be discussed. And other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. I will call the meeting to order. Since we have one of our members remote, we'll have to have, any votes that we have will have to be roll call. And I would ask everyone to please identify themselves. We'll start with our remote.
John Rabbit.
Sarah Kammer.
Brian LaFond.
Linda McQueen.
Thank you. Do we have any opening comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Please.
we have some good news.
I love good news.
Good news. It's our anticipation that we will have our first deferral and circuit breaker delivered to the assessor's office earlier next week.
Great.
They're done. They just can't bring it in. So that opens up a whole new set of worms to figure out.
Well, it's just a new challenge, but thank you. Thank you for all your efforts to help make that at least start.
We've been able to help another person, right?
Right.
That's what really counts. That's it for me.
Any other board comment? None for me? If there was anyone from the public online, I don't see them at the moment. There's no public here in the building, in the room. They may be in the building. So we're going to move into the status report from the principal assessor.
Okay, I gave you my monthly report.
You did?
And,
Oh.
Yep.
Were you able to send one to Jack as a remote?
I did not, no.
So you'll have to trust us.
Yep.
Here,
I can live with it. I'll look it up. Not to worry.
I'll go through everything.
I'll keep talking.
There you
and
go.
I'll keep this
Okay. Linda, I love your reports. I mean, I live for them. That's what we can certainly live.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we had 4 butters lists within the past month. We received five additional exemptions that were approved on February 5th. We have processed them in Munis, and to date, we have received 121 real estate exemptions. We also received a total of 35 real estate and personal property abatements. Denise and I have probably completed half of them, and I'll have more for our executive session tonight to go through. We only received 4 motor vehicle excise tax abatements, but commitment number 1 of 25 is being mailed out on the 20th of February, and that has a total of 12,599 bills. So we will be quite busy come next week with the phone and motor vehicle excise tax abatements. In addition, the last commitment, number 7 of 24, has an additional 326 bills being mailed. And I have those commitments for you to sign with the totals.
And you have stamps.
No, we don't have stamps anymore, so we use the postage.
Linda, what was the total on that then? Total number of abatements?
Abate?
30,
35 property,
35 property, 121 real estate
real
exemptions.
estate exemptions,
Yep.
and motor vehicles?
Oh,
4.
so we have 2 commitments. We have one for 2025, 12,599 bills being mailed out. If you need the tax, I can give you that.
Oh, that's a year, that's not the number. Okay, never mind.
That's the biggest one for 25, and then 24, commitment number 7 is gonna be mailed on the 20th of February, and that's an additional 326 bills being mailed out. And I have the tax totals if you need that, but they're on.
No, I'll go read your report.
Yep,
when you said 2025, I didn't realize that was the year.
Yeah.
Duh. Hey, it is, Rena. That's good, that's good.
yeah.
And and filing for abatements, they still we're done.
We're done.
For
Yeah,
the abatements,
yeah.
right?
Done.
Yeah, so 25, that's a little higher than what we normally get, right?
Well,
35.
what's normally, last year we got 44.
Yeah.
Oh, did we? Oh, I see, we granted 19 or something like that.
We granted
Was-
about 35 or 40 of them.
Yeah.
And it's
Did we?
35 that we have, not 25.
35
35.
abatement requests for both real estate and personal property,
Yeah.
Okay.
which
Okay.
is less than last
Thank you.
year, way less than the year before.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to talk about that one.
Our data collector continues to follow up on building permits. She's also been helping me with the abatement inspections. We've actually been going together, which has been great, and it's been a challenge with this weather. It's been so cold, so we had fun yesterday because we had to go up this property that was like steep hill, and I was on the ice and sliding. I put mine in foil. I mean, we made it down okay, but it's definitely been a challenge, so, but we're getting it done. So I think we have about 50% of the abatements done at this point.
Okay.
Inspected.
Inspected, yeah, yeah, and from what we have reviewed in our last meeting, everything has been processed in Munis. We have had an issue with CAI. We've had a mapping linking issue. And we have maps that are not in GIS.
Parcels.
Parcels that are not in
that are not linking with Vision, and maps that, or I should say parcels that are in Vision that are not linking with the maps in GIS. So there's about 60.
When you say GIS, you mean
Mapping,
CAI?
CAI
Okay.
mapping, yeah. So there's about
Yeah.
60 properties. So we've been working directly with CAI to try to straighten these out, but some of these properties are because plans haven't been received since 2022, so we're finding a lot of stuff. We didn't have this issue last year, and we're thinking it's just odd, and I think the reason might be was that the update was done on CJ's computer, and it wasn't updated on mine. So these probably existed last year, we just probably didn't know about them. We don't really have any other reason other than that as to why it's different.
So there are 60 parcels that CAI hasn't been able to update.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But they were on the system last year because I did a number of
Yeah.
when I was alone there, I did a number of abutters list. And I could use the system to do it, the parcels were there.
Yeah.
But then,
Strange.
it's strange, because, they're not showing up anymore in the GIS or in the mapping. It said no link or something.
Huh, I wonder where CAI is getting their layer from, if it's geocoded. Well,
Yeah,
that's for them to figure out.
I don't know.
If you have any hints,
Yeah, really.
That might help. The other thing too is, we took away that, when you went into CAI, you had a CAI selection and a
Card.
vision
Card.
selection for a card, and they weren't matching up, like the CAI assessed value wasn't matching up with the vision card, so we took the CAI option of the card off, just to eliminate any confusion, so maybe that, I don't
Well,
know.
I wonder if CAI is getting its layer that shows the parcels from a different source. There's
Oh,
a
from
mass,
last year.
yeah, there's a mass GIS.
Yes.
And we, I think, are supposed to be sending any new parcels that we make to Mass GIS. They update the layer. And then what I presume CAI is doing, I don't work there,
Yeah.
is they're taking whatever that layer is and coding the properties to match the parcels that they're pulling.
But we never had to do that before, we
Oh.
just send our new
You wouldn't
lots.
do it, they would do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But if they're using a different layer, then, because the parcels never made it to wherever they're getting their layer
Probably
from,
something we should talk to Mike about.
they wouldn't have,
We probably-
they wouldn't have it.
well, Mike from CAI or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It is where how their parcels are showing up on their maps, so they need to adjust those 60 parcels. And if there's a layer that already exists with those parcels embedded, meaning as those parcels have been created, it has gotten updated in whatever geodatabase they're using, they should be able to do it.
Sarah, where would they get the loc ID numbers from?
So,
We're missing a lot of those.
Yeah.
oh, interesting. Are you missing those in Vision or?
On
Yeah,
the-
yeah, that's actually the reason why they're not linking. But the strange thing is we've had some parcels, like the ones that had to be reversed.
Yeah,
We've had some strange issues of even where they're placed on the maps. Like map 39 is mixed in with 21, it shouldn't be that way.
it's, and some of the parcels are right on the line.
Yeah,
And what Mike from CAI said, he said as long as the loc ID is correct, it'll point to that parcel, even though it's a different map, because maps come together in different places.
Yeah, it's all about the projection, so you could have that movement if you have a different projection. But the loc ID is one that it should get assigned as the new property is coming in, if it's been subdivided. But I don't know who actually assigns that, whether it's Vision or the state or
I don't
a
think
parcel
it's
mapping
Vision.
service. I don't know. I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
I don't, because
'Cause I-
I've worked with Vision
yeah.
for years, I don't think it's Vision.
So I don't know where that, I don't know whose responsibility
I
that
would think
is.
it would be CAI.
because
Yeah.
they give us the
Mr.
numbers.
Chairman, can I ask a question?
The
I don't think we can see
DLR
me,
might
that's
know the
okay.
answer
Feel
to
free,
that.
we can see, well, they can't see you because you're over there, but I can see you up there.
Oh, okay. Hey, question, when we do the transfers, do we kind of create a grouping and give it a control that asks them to confirm they have received it?
Oh,
Is any kind of confirmation we do going on? And then next thing I'd look is that if we're putting them together in bigger groups, and if you go find a few that don't, are they in the same group coding? Did that whole group get dropped and not pushed in? Because that's a big number.
so well, I think what you're asking is when CAI and Vision link, is there some kind of tracking that says, here's when that link took place, and there must be an identifier of that link. And then to see if there's some common field that we go, oh, those all were from, June of 2024 or something.
Right.
Try
How should they track it?
try to investigate what might have caused it. I don't know if
We
that's,
don't have that.
well, right,
But we have a list of the ones that aren't linking with, so the ones that are in CAI that aren't linking with vision, and then the ones that are in
But
vision
this-
that are linking
So
with.
there's
the
probably
maps.
some kind of an audit trail as well that says, here's when those took place. And one of the things they might want to look at, and I don't think you guys want to do the investigation, but CAI and Vision ought to figure out if there's some common factor.
It's two vendors that regularly work with this data. They should know how it gets entered.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep,
You
I
think?
don't,
Yeah.
because I don't usually work
Yeah.
right.
in parcels. But like, when I made that thing of the neighborhoods, all I did was go from Mass GIS, pull the layer for that particular year, and then match up the loc IDs to the parcels. There were some that were unassigned, so I just manually added those.
Maybe that's the problem, if she didn't have it assigned, that might have been.
Uh,
Because they
But it's
weren't
something to
linked.
point to them.
Yeah.
For
But
them to go
as the
investigate.
professionals, I
Right.
mean, that's what we're paying them to do.
And they've been great, I have to say,
Yeah.
Mike was on the
Yeah.
phone with us quite a few hours yesterday,
Yesterday,
trying to
right.
straighten
I'm
out.
saying they should know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Like, I know where to point, but that's
Right.
not what I do every day.
Yeah.
So this only comes out as one of the bullets here, but I know you guys have been using an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out what's going on with all the maps, so it's been a real time sink,
Yeah.
honestly. It hasn't stopped us from keeping the office running, but it's sure making it difficult.
Yeah,
Call me the next school vacation.
yeah.
I called a couple times.
Oh, I know you called today to see if you had to sign something. You gotta
Yeah,
give me your phone
I
number.
called last week,
I don't
too.
have your phone number,
Yeah,
so definitely give me your phone number. So that is
if
something.
I'm sitting in front of it, I can probably do a better job answering questions.
Oh, probably, yeah, you probably, we might take you up on that
Yeah.
offer if you have any time in that time. The next thing is Robin mailed out 225 FY 2026 income and expense forms to businesses last week. And Brian LaFond actually met with Adam Costa, town council, last week to review the draft of the deed issue letter that hopefully we'll be sending to homeowners to request clarification of the deeds by their attorney.
And we've reviewed that too.
You should already have gotten a copy of that.
Yeah. And then the goals for next month, we've already started working on the FY 2026 growth, so we're gonna continue with that. We're gonna continue to schedule our inspections and hopefully complete more of the real estate abatements. And we also wanna review our FY 2025 chapter land applications with the Board of Assessors. So we still, we haven't really had time to go through those.
I have a comment and a question. I think these goals are great. I'm wondering where the neighborhood stuff fits in on here.
We're gonna talk about that, because that's one thing we.
Because it's out of my hands at this point, but I'm
Yeah.
still
But it's definitely
wanting
on
it to
the
happen.
agenda.
Okay,
It's definitely, it's on the agenda, it is part of the goal.
okay.
It just missed this.
This
issue.
iteration, okay.
Well, yeah, we'll cover some of that stuff when we get to that agenda item. Cool. Anything else on the update? I think that's it.
Yeah,
Sounds great. Review and approve minutes. You may have seen
I saw quite a few coming through, so.
some stuff today. Let's see if I've got them all.
October 6th, right? Or was it 2nd?
October, whatever it is.
I wrote 6th, but I know my minutes were November 6th, November
It was-
20th.
It was October 2nd.
Okay.
So I sent off a copy of my next revision of the October 2nd, which I had worked on quite some time ago, and we really haven't had a chance to look at, so. If there's anything anybody wants to change in that,
I read through it, I didn't see anything to change.
Mr. Rabbit?
We're talking about October the 2nd, Brian?
The minutes from October the 2nd for the.
Right. Where did we end up with preparing the munis separation of functions upcoding? Okay, remember the debate we had in town
Yep, it's in
with
there.
regard to the munis system, the counting
Yep.
system?
It's in there.
And who ended up with that?
Nobody. We had a third-party vendor that we brought in to do the work, and the conclusion of the discussion was that Carter Terenzini stated that it's more like 6 to 9 months before a decision must be made. So that is the
I remember that.
last statement that I put on that grouping, so that everybody would know that that was essentially the last thing that was said. 6 to 9
Right.
months from October is coming up pretty soon. So we have a new permanent town manager, so we'll have that discussion with her. I've
Okay.
already paved the way for the discussion. I know that she's had some preliminary discussions with Linda as well. So I don't know what the next step is and how quickly that needs to happen yet.
Right. So did we iron out who
But
was
wait,
doing?
so wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we can't answer questions that haven't occurred by October 2nd. I can only talk about what is on here for October 2nd. So please don't.
Okay, I'll save that for a follow-up question
Exactly,
at the
so
end.
please don't expand the review of October
save
2nd to be
that.
something else.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's coming back, okay.
But no, it's a good point, it's just, we need to talk about
Yeah,
it.
I just thought I'd kill a couple birds with one stone in terms
Well,
of taking time on.
let's get a
questions,
bunch of
but that's okay.
minutes.
I'll come back.
Approved and then move on.
I motion to approve the minutes of October 2nd as revised.
Second?
All in favor?
Any further
I'm sorry.
discussion? Jeez. Jeez. Everybody wants to be in charge,
No, we don't.
except the guy that's in charge.
Yeah. No, we don't.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's gotta be a roll call.
John Rabbit, aye.
Sarah Cammer, aye.
Brian LaFont, aye. Okay. November 6th, thankful to our colleague Sarah for pulling all the information off the November 6th meeting. I went through and I made one change, and that was change the word assist.
To assist.
It was assist. I made it assist, and I found nothing else to fix there, so I have a copy that is corrected with assist.
Sorry
Okay.
about the typo.
I can't believe there was a typo.
Oh.
I can't believe it was Sarah.
I mean,
Anything
it's
else?
so much easier to edit
Anything
other
else?
people's work.
And it is, it really
It
is.
is.
Anything else on the November 6th minutes that need to be adjusted?
Looked good, Sarah.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the minutes of November 2nd. 6th.
6. Aye, John Rabbit.
Okay, so we can now have a vote. We needed a second. Thanks for the second.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
And we are, John Rabbit, I heard aye.
Aye.
Sarah Cammer, aye.
Brian LaFont, aye, so unanimous.
We are out of practice.
We haven't done minutes in a long time.
Yeah.
Shh, don't tell anybody. No one's noticed.
Oh, we are way ahead of most of the other boards.
I know.
That's
Well, we had a
disturbing.
perfect record almost.
Way ahead.
It's just disturbing. Okay.
November 20th, personally, I found nothing that needed to change.
I'm okay with it too, Sarah, thank you.
You're welcome. That was a hard one to write.
I'll entertain a motion.
Second time, it's been written a couple times.
Motion to approve the minutes of November 20th.
I second.
I'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye, John Rabbit.
Aye, Sarah Cammer.
Aye, Brian LaFont.
Did you already do October 16th? Because I still have it
No.
on my agenda. Okay, good. Just checking.
It was,
What?
I started making amendments to October 16th, but I didn't get a chance. I spent most of the day doing minutes, and I got sick of it. So,
I spent a lot of time with the November 6th, November 20th meetings.
yes, those are, but
I
the October, the
understand.
October 2nd one with the
That was a lot.
Carter and the team
Oh,
was
yeah. That was a bear.
interesting.
Yeah, I remember that.
We have the minutes from January 22nd. Mr. Rabbit, you said you saw nothing wrong with it.
I saw nothing, yeah.
It's fine.
Anything
No, that was an executive session.
Nope,
Nope.
January 22nd.
Oh, never mind, I take that back.
22.
The question was an executive session, never mind.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the
To-
minutes of January 22nd.
Second over there?
Second, sorry.
It's okay. All in favor?
Aye, John Rabbit.
Hi, Sarah Cammer.
Hi, Brian LaFawn. So what we just did there was knock down at least 4 of them. I had already found the one that was, just hadn't been submitted yet, so that's 5. We still have a list of several, but some of them are executive session. So we
Right.
need to make sure and knock those down and put them in a file someplace wherever we put them. We'll talk more about executive session later on, maybe. Maybe not. And the one on December 2nd was canceled because of a lack of quorum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we are catching up rather quickly.
Which ones are left?
December 10th, that was an executive session too, wasn't it? Do I have that over here? No.
December 10th was the executive session only.
You're
That
right,
was the executive session that would have happened on the 2nd if we'd had a full quorum.
right.
Oh,
So,
I remember
so
that.
December 10th.
Are you
was-
working on minutes on that right now, Brian?
I think we typically get the minutes from the lead assessor, and there's not that much on them,
Is
other
there any-
than we've reviewed 5 abatements, or we've reviewed whatever, so.
Is there any left in open meeting that you do not want to do that you'd like me to take?
I have October 2nd
16?
half done, 16th half done,
Okay.
so I'll go ahead and do that. The only other one,
Yeah, I didn't have it. Back taxes due to building, okay, yeah.
we need.
That's the 2nd, that's the executive 16th, Brian?
There's a-
October 16th?
I have a 15th and a 16th, and I think one of them was executive session, but I'm not sure, so.
Yeah, one of them was, for
Let me-
sure.
Let me work those October.
October.
Let me go back and, I'll just double check that one, I'll take care of that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Then we'll be reasonably caught up. December 18th has already been done.
Okay.
January 22nd, we just did.
Okay.
I believe that,
Was there one in February?
we have a February 5th we haven't done yet,
Oh,
and we have a February today.
that was the one when I
February
zoomed.
today.
Okay.
So we,
So February 5th, I zoomed. You should probably do that one.
well, I was gonna wait to get the input from Danielle, because she does such a good job of summarizing all the
She does.
junk we say.
The summaries are great.
So I didn't want to do that one until we
Yeah.
actually had something to review from
Yeah.
her, rather than trying to write it from scratch. And then, I thought we had another meeting in January, like the 10th or 8th or something.
You
I'll
had-
look at my,
You guys did, remember I wasn't there? I guess I gotta add that.
We had this, not January 10th.
No, January 8th, I think it was.
I'll look
Yeah.
for, I'll look.
January 8th, I thought we reviewed it and it was okay.
Oh, that's maybe.
Maybe.
It's possible, because the way I
check-
just printed
yeah,
off the
I
check
ones
think
that
we
we
might
worked
have
on.
approved them on January 22nd.
So we may be already done on January 8th. If that's the case, then Sarah, you're really off the hook.
Well, I'll look up January 8th.
So-
Is the executive session all set for the 22nd? I think it is, right? I should have taken that off this list.
I'm just trying to confirm that we actually approved them at some point, and I didn't have a chance to do that, so I can't tell you.
I'll look that one up Friday.
But the ones that we just approved, you can take off your list forever. Wow. Progress is made by small steps, sometimes. Did you have something else, Mr. Rabbit?
No, I agreed with you, small
Okay.
steps.
So that's how you get
Incremental.
there. Review and approve invoices, expense vouchers, billing errors, etc.
Yep, I have motor vehicle. Sign.
So you won't have a copy of this, Mr. Rabbit?
That's okay, I don't need to sign it either.
We'll describe what's going on, and then you can help us
Do you,
vote if you want.
They're all the same, 3
do you
copies.
really think I'll remember?
No, 3 copies of the same thing? This is
Yeah,
refund total $767.68. Did you want to look at any of the detail behind it?
Sure.
Here's one. Here, you can look at this one.
Remember, we had ordered a stamp and
Yep.
just wanted to re-vote on that date that we approved signing. We sent out that exemption certificate with those, not exemption, abatement certificate, that we can put your, you can stamp your signature. And then That's okay. I don't remember
So-
when we voted that last time.
So this was the one we approved but didn't,
Well, those I show you all the time, but we sent out a abatement certificate and we just stamp it, so we just want approval on those. It's essentially the same thing as those, but it's an individual certificate, that we can stamp those.
today's the 19th?
Yes.
Obviously, we wouldn't, you know, like the real estate, you have to sign those, but the motor vehicle, at least that way we don't have to hold those up.
And our signature is our vote. Jeez. Need a stamp. I write so badly. Anybody else online? Nope, still. Cool.
I just have the motor vehicle commitments.
Okay.
And this is for the fiscal, first commitment, 2025.
This is the thing you quoted to us earlier?
One for the accountant and one for the tax collector. That's the first commitment.
So the commitment is for motor vehicle excise, $1,745,393.70. And how many was that?
That is 12,599 bills.
Well,
Do we, both pages?
Yes, please. So our phone will start ringing next week.
Oh, no, they may show up.
Does that happen anymore?
Oh, they'll show up.
I got rid of
there should be some soundtrack for that.
Yeah.
So this one is dated as well.
One is for the accountant and one is
Yeah.
for the.
So
I know, I'm just, oh, there's the date, okay.
those amounts should match what we have on the sheet.
I just want to make sure that I had, they both had dates on them.
And then this one is for 24, so this is 326 bills, $14,563.51.
Could you hear that, Jack?
I didn't, but
14,563.51.
those cents really count. Yeah, okay.
Cents count.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Well, we're getting rid of the pennies, so you won't have to.
Yes.
She's still holding papers.
Never an end to paper in our office,
No.
I swear. So much.
Can't we pass some kind of a policy about elimination of paper?
Oh, so much. So can we
We'd
vote?
probably be the only ones to follow it.
Oh, no. Yeah, well, no, a lot of people don't bother with their minutes, so I don't know how the, anyway, sorry.
Can we re-vote for the signature on the motor vehicle?
Revote?
Yeah,
We
you know,
d-
we had signed, voted on, you voted on that before?
Oh.
To be able to use the stamp,
Certificates that go. to the
certificates that
people.
go out to the people,
Yes.
so you don't have to sign those.
So we would entertain a motion to use our stamp rather than our signature for the motor vehicle excise taxes that are going out,
Yeah, only motor vehicle, not real estate.
only for motor vehicle.
Right. Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I was under the impression, Linda, that they required at least one of those documents, usually there's 2 or 3 pages, they need one of those to be signed, and the others can be stamped. Am I just making that up, or?
I think that was on
Yeah, we just,
the abatements,
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's true, I don't think it's true of the excise tax. It may be true of the excise tax exemption, or abatements. don't know
Abatements?
that.
Well, I would think of the same.
Well, excise tax abatements, maybe. But I don't think the initial tax, it would require the direct signature. We'll check on that for you.
Yeah.
I think it would.
And we're
be-
talking, a
Just
few
make-
hundred, that'd be a nice thing. That'd be a time saver.
Yes.
Yeah.
A whole bunch, well, plus then they wouldn't have to wait for us to meet
That's true.
Yeah.
and sit here for 3 hours while we sign stuff?
We also have the HERO Act letters we gotta mail out, and that's gonna be probably next week, so,
Are those gonna require signatures from us?
we're gonna send out the letter, but.
Yeah, I don't think you need our signature
I'll
for
have
that.
I'll use the stamp.
Oh,
and
good.
I'll have the commitment. Actually, I think we make that from us. We could make it from the board and use the stamp
Yeah,
too.
you can.
Yeah.
On the motor vehicle, when you sign the log for everything that she has abated,
Mm-hmm.
that is suffice.
Oh, okay.
That has to be written. The certificates that get sent out to the individual from the office, you can use the stamp.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
On excise tax.
Thank you.
thank you.
That's a good clarification. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
picked up on that. So, did we hear the motion to approve usage of the stamp for in the?
For
Individual
just-
In the appro,
certificates.
right.
Say it again, Brian, couldn't hear. Approve a motion to allow the stamps for just what?
The certificates
Individual certificates
Motor vehicle.
for motor
for
vehicles.
motor vehicle.
For motor vehicles only, okay. I would second that.
I guess I moved it.
Yeah.
All in favor?
I, Sarah Kammer.
Aye, John Rabbit.
Aye, Brian LaFond. You got it.
Okay,
What else do you need signed
that's it,
or stamped?
that's it.
Okay. The senior means tested exemption. I know you guys
Yeah.
met as a group earlier today. I was
We
just wondering if
did.
you give us an update.
We did?
Who wants to lead that discussion?
I got a copy.
Go ahead, Linda.
Jack. Nope, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that we did have a chance, this concept of form and storm and then perform. We're going through the forming, haven't you ever heard of that, form, storm, perform? The different phases of development of a project?
It's okay.
Anyway, in any case, we have formed and, okay, Rita, stop laughing at me. Okay, we have formed and now we're trying to grapple with what we've got. Linda has gone out and done some research and I went out and followed up, and once we figured out we had to go and open up the files directly, we can't use yours. We were able to determine that, especially the towns of Westford and Concord, their means exemption testing is, it's different. Each one of them is different. They have different application forms.
Sure.
Some of the towns, it looks like one of the towns requires you use the circuit breaker 2 years back. Another town looks like it's only one. They provided examples. There was questions with regard to, is it 70 or is it 65? Is that correct, Linda? And we kind of concluded that it was 65 because of the changes we had made to 41C. We're still thrashing around trying to figure out. So Linda has won the prize of building a flow chart in terms of how it might work. Is that fair?
No, I'm gonna just expand upon that.
Okay.
So I got a copy of the law from Lou, which was signed by Governor Healy on January 6th of this year. And it has all of the qualifications for the town. We have to vote on the income and asset limits, the Board of Assessors. But our goal tonight was we were gonna do a flow chart, but I think at the end of the meeting, it was determined that we're gonna take this, some other examples from other towns, like Hingham's eligibility requirements, kind of edit it and apply what's in the law to this certificate here, this little write-up. We're gonna have a calendar. We're gonna actually look at Concord's application, and then from there, we're gonna have to, the next step will probably be, once we get that done, the Board of Assessors will have to determine the limits, because some of them are at the discretion.
Sure.
I started kind of putting together some of the eligibility based on this law. They have to be 65 or older. They must have lived in the town and occupied a home for not less than 15 consecutive years.
Right.
They have to have received, first of all, if they haven't received the circuit breaker, they don't qualify. That's
Right.
the first step. So I started doing something like a flow chart, but it was just determined that we're just gonna
So it's,
edit
Well, it's sort of like a checklist then. It won't be a
It's
flow
just a
chart
checklist.
necessarily, but it'll be a
Yeah,
checklist, which that
checklist.
helps a lot.
So this will be as far as the requirements, and maybe I can do it in an order, like.
Sorry.
The first thing is, if they don't receive the circuit breaker, they don't qualify for this exemption, so that's like the first requirement.
Yep.
So, there is one thing, we cannot exceed 1% of the tax levy.
Right.
So that's one thing. And I guess it's mentioned in the law as far as we could issue up to 100% of the circuit breaker, depending upon.
How much we
levy.
have, yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have any idea of how many applicants. Some of the towns have a application deadline of September 3rd. I think they do that because obviously you'd have to have the levy information from the classification
Right.
hearing. So you'd need to know how many applicants you
Right.
have.
Doesn't have to be approved by the state too, doesn't it? Aren't we waiting for state approval before we,
Of
No.
the applicants, I don't think
No.
the state's involved, it says
No.
home rule thing.
This-
That's why it's
this
out
has
till
already been-
September, I thought.
This is the law.
so
It's
it
been-
sounds
No,
like
no,
you have,
just, the clarification was, the reason was September was so that they were in our hands before we did the tax classification hearing, which has to be
Okay.
done in early November at the latest, I think. We did a little bit later, but not much later. So I think that the reason, based upon what I just heard, was, it's really to make sure that we have them, all of them in our hands, they're clean, we're ready to go. Now,
So that we know they.
all the
know
other
for
towns are
tax
doing the
levy.
same thing,
So
September.
you figure out the tax levy. Sorry, Jack?
so it sounds like you have everything you need to write up what this will look like, with the exception of our COLAs.
I don't think COLA's gonna apply to this.
No.
No, and.
Oh, no, I meant our limits, our assets.
Oh, yeah.
Asset.
I misspoke, thank you for
Income.
going, what are you talking about? Yeah, so it sounds like we have everything. There's a question about what date we want it to enact it. I think September 3rd sounds
Early September, maybe it's not September 3rd every year.
pretty
but
reasonable. And then we probably
The
have.
first Monday every September is probably, that's a holiday.
Yes. We probably want to have, when we get to that time period, think about how we're going to handle it if we have so many applicants that it's over a 1% levy. So,
Well, you just cut back the amount that they get.
okay,
I mean, that's what, the way it's written, basically, you could go up to this number, and if you go beyond that number, then everybody has to come
you
down.
just reduce by that amount.
Now, we could actually not give everybody right up to the limit across the board, but most of us would want to, I think.
So I think that's the only part of the policy that's not entirely clear to me.
Yeah, if we were to set a different limit, we'd have to figure out why we set that limit and write a policy
Yeah.
about that. So, sorry, Jack,
I
you
think
had.
we should stay at 1%.
No, that's
and
okay.
Work from
The
there.
one of the things, Linda, I had a hard time hearing because I was over the phone. We didn't set up a Zoom meeting, but one town goes back 2 years to the circuit breaker that was filed that 2 years prior to that, and the other town, Westford, seems to only go back one. Did I pick that up right, Linda?
Yeah, I think it was decided that we would only go back 1 year, because we need.
Yeah.
We would need the circuit breaker from we need the tax return, which will show the circuit breaker.
Right.
From the prior,
And
yeah.
I didn't hear that it had been saying that's what we're gonna do, but that was a real good thing. The other interesting part of approach that they use, the other towns did, Concord, that you do an initial application, and after that, the name is almost erased. You're given a control number, because they believe that, go take a look at the application, it's interesting. They use control numbers.
You're just making it
Westford
anonymous
uses
so
a
you
name.
don't know who it is.
Right, that's a good idea.
That's a
Keep it
good idea.
anonymous. I
Yeah.
like that idea, so
Yeah.
that's something to write into the process.
Yeah.
And
So-
the other part was that there was a significant difference in terms of what levels of assets you could own. If you were in Concord, it was 275,000. If you were in Westford, it was 150,000. So again, that's up to the Board of Assessors to
Right.
determine what they want to do. And the maximum value, I think Westford's just hadn't been updated on their website, but they were 750,000. Concord was 1.3 million. So there's a big difference
So-
in that, but
So I'm sure that the team will make a recommendation to us so that we can decide based upon some data. Thank you. You're right, it's a wide range, a lot of, I won't call it arbitrary, but we get to
It
use
is.
our judgment on a lot of stuff and,
Yeah, they're trying to control how wide they open the gate.
yep,
And I can see where Concord would say, okay, 275,000 in assets. If you're living in $1 million house, you better have, and you're 65, you better have more than that, you know?
yeah. So we will decide those things, but, so, Mike, it sounds like you made a good start.
We did.
I'd like to know what the next steps are and when you guys are getting together again.
Probably in 2 weeks, our next meeting. We do it back to back or in front of this meeting.
I see.
And then I might try to, as Tom had suggested, we try to do a sheet like this Hingham,
Sure.
an informational sheet with all of the eligibility requirements. And obviously, our income and assets will be
Whatever we choose. Yeah.
it'll be at your discretion to vote on. And then try to come up with some kind of an application too, and then how it's gonna,
Yep.
maybe we could do something like a flow chart, but you know that we have a chart for all exemptions, maybe something like that too with our.
Works for me. Thank you. Sounds like you made good progress. Thank you for the update. Anything you want to add, Mr. Rabbit, to that, from that
No, just
conversation?
that the applications were, I found one more effective in terms of knocking people out as they went along. If you didn't meet this, check, stop here, good night, you know, and that kind of thing. I thought that was pretty an interesting approach. But, yeah, the applications are a little bit further away, I think, Linda, but it's your call.
If the, if the intention is to knock people out, I guess that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be my primary intention, but,
Yeah, so Tom had mentioned that he liked the Concord application, and he liked the Hingham informational sheet, so I'm gonna try to use those as examples.
yep,
And I was just noticing on this Hingham one, you got Concord and Hingham, you got some high property value.
yes, you do.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you do.
you know, homeowners, principal or resident, not to exceed one, a little over.
A million, yeah.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah.
arranged for our
Yeah.
neighborhood. Yeah.
So I don't know what we
Perfect.
wanna use when the time
Well,
comes for an
Well,
assessed value.
maybe look at the range of Concord properties and see where $1 million fits in there and apply it to ours.
Some towns have used the
Just as a
average
first swing at it.
assessed value,
That's a
single
good
family
approach,
value as a.
And, yeah, that's usually something you can get right off the state website. too,
Yep.
The average
Yep,
assessment.
yep. So we can
Makes
just see
sense.
what their averages are versus our average and then bring it all down by about that amount. So that, I think this is gonna be
Yeah.
pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
I hope, so.
I don't remember what.
Taking the average makes
Yeah,
sense.
I don't
It's a
remember
number
what
that's already out there.
About
And that-
median or
It's what the
mean?
assets, I think, are gonna be the ones that are the big swing. Because
Yes,
we have a higher poverty rate than would somebody like Concord.
You'd be surprised.
Really? I'm just guessing.
yeah. Anyway, okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I think this is great progress. It feels like we're actually gonna do something and get it done right and be done on time, so that if we could collect all applications by this coming September, that'd be fabulous.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure we'd actually be ready, honestly, so. Just me. Neighborhood site index review plan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You want to talk about what you talked about with Jen today?
Yeah, we actually, we should probably start out with
Mike
vision.
Torello, yeah. Go ahead.
You wanna go ahead?
Linda and I put in a call to Mike Torello from Vision. And Linda explained to him, you know, about our directives. She read them off to him. The directives to review the neighborhoods and realign some of the neighborhoods. So, of course, we told him our first one is the lake areas. And he said he it's not something he would do. He wouldn't take that on. It's a huge project, according to him. And he said since he's already done our total reval and our interim adjustments and everything's been, especially for the reval, everything was reviewed and accepted by the DOR. He said, you know, it might be something you want to do for the next revaluation, but I don't think we're gonna, I think it's something we're gonna have to start working on, because when you have neighborhoods that have a house that's a 1A, the next one's a 1A, and then a 1, and another 1A, they have to be consistent.
I agree. I was really just disappointed with the reval. I don't think the neighborhoods really got looked at all.
Well,
So
they
the-
looked at what we had.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't modify anything, they just
Right.
looked at what we
Because
had.
that wasn't what
Which,
And they said
which
they
was the
looked pretty
result
good.
of years of whatever, and then
Yeah.
Nate trying to save our,
Sorry, never mind.
Well, our plan was to hopefully, I've gotta get 3 quotes. Vision won't give us a quote, because I don't want any part of it.
but I just want to say, but that was only about the lake stuff,
Yeah,
so let's,
yeah.
but
we
this
get-
isn't about just the lake stuff.
No, we have to look at all neighborhoods, that's
And-
part of the directive.
Yeah, there's several neighborhoods that don't make any sense.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So we were kind of hoping, when we spoke with Mike, to have some kind of a starting point, a plan, but it looks like it's gonna be a little tougher, so are looking at different options. I guess he cautioned us on making, well, he thought maybe it should just stay
The same.
the same,
Oh, yeah.
and cautioned us on making,
But-
as he said, influence.
Mike wants us to stay the same when when the state tells us to fix it. Well, it
Well,
doesn't,
because he did the reval.
well, it doesn't feel like we
And
can,
his
we have that
numbers-
option.
Right.
We don't have that option, and the way it's entered into Vision, we don't have any factors, we just have our neighborhoods being the factors,
Right,
incorporating every single factor,
Yeah.
which
Right.
doesn't
right,
work.
right.
Like if you look at our neighborhood 3,
It's every neighborhood's
It's-
almost a 3.
there should be some factors on that at least,
Right, and
and there's not.
what do we have? Several thousand people in that same neighborhood, or parcels in that same neighborhood.
It's-
It's crazy.
And you just
It
cannot
is.
tell me, well, you can tell me, I won't believe, I won't believe it.
That neighborhood is all the same.
That's just, you know, that my busy street is the same as somebody else's busy street, just, you know, we have 2 members of the board that are in zone 3, and we have very different streets,
Yeah.
you know, and that's okay, like, I don't care necessarily, but there will be people who care.
Right.
And there should be factors on those, it shouldn't all be one giant neighborhood with no factors, and that is what we were given in Vision.
So, so Mike doesn't want to do it.
Yeah,
Vision doesn't want to do it.
yeah,
What will, I'll let you go on.
yeah, sorry.
Well,
I'm
we're-
gonna stop ranting.
No, well, I have to shut some of you guys off sometimes.
So Nate is willing, MFS is willing to put in a quote. We also thought maybe we would try to do it in-house. And Mike had made some suggestions on cautioning us with influence factors, that we really need to kind of find sales and then try to determine a value, because we do think there's different values for each lake.
Sure.
'Cause
Well,
some are, well,
Well,
I,
you
The
have.
neighborhood has
my
to be large
prim,
enough to
my
support
primary
sales.
thing is, if you put all the lakes together, then you have enough for a neighborhood,
Sales.
so that you can get enough sales. And then you put factors on top of that
yes.
to say, well, this lake might be more valuable because of this, or this lake might be less valuable because of
Well,
that.
you
And it
have-
may be several factors that
Yeah.
get you there.
You have one lake that's totally private, nobody can
Right.
put a boat in and use that
So
lake.
either jack that number up or jack it down. I don't care if it makes it more
As long as
expensive.
it's supported by
But-
sales.
But, right, it's
Yeah.
gotta make sense based upon the sales. I don't care if it's jacked up or jacked down, by the way, Jack.
And then-
I understand that, I do understand that.
then you
Okay,
have
But there are other
lakes.
factors that really need to be considered even
Yeah,
when you talk about a lake.
Yep.
I mean, let's compare streets. Arbor Street, that's getting to be a busy road. But it's compensated by the fact that most people live at least a couple 100 to 300 feet off the street. That makes it a lot more valuable because now you're getting, so this is going to be a really complicated mess. And to Brian's point, how are you ever going to find enough to have any kind of statistical significance?
so
This
we
is
want to
a
be
tough one.
limited to some number of neighborhoods. 8, 6, I don't know what the number is. We have 5,500 parcels in the community, or less than that if you take out the commercial ones. But we're still gonna wind up with some fairly large neighborhoods, and they're gonna be fairly diverse.
Yeah.
But what they shouldn't be is as diverse as we have today, where we have, we have parcels that have nothing in common that are in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know when we redid neighborhoods, when Patriot took over Groton, when they came in, there were 26 neighborhoods. And the DOR said, oh, no. Scale that down to no more than, say, 10 or 12. So we had to cut them in half. And we did that, but what we did was, Groton is a community that, to get from like any place in New Hampshire,
Right.
you know, near the New Hampshire border,
Yeah.
you have to come through Groton through 119.
Yep.
If you want to go to 495, you're going through Groton.
Yeah.
Right.
So we had neighborhoods that were, the streets were like a heavily traveled road.
Yeah.
We put a certain, you know, neighborhood for that, for heavy traffic.
Yeah.
These New Hampshire plates coming down through to get to 495. And we that's the way we did it.
Yep.
You know, we had about, I think we finally ended up with about 8 neighborhoods. In the lake, we only had the one lake, so
Right.
that was easy. That was waterfront.
Mhm.
And then if you were street back, it was, you can't say water view, but it was lake back is what we called it. When it was, if you didn't have that ability to walk down like I did, from my door right down
To the
into-
beach.
You know, I was on a peninsula, I had like this, had water all around me.
Hmm.
But anybody on a back street, they can't walk through a yard to get to a lake, so
Right.
that was a lake
Different.
back.
Yeah.
So, next steps, we had the conversation with Jen, do you want to talk about that
Yeah.
yet next or not?
Yeah, we did speak with the town manager about it today, and we also have put in a call to Becky Boucher. I think she's on vacation this
Yeah,
week.
I think she's
So,
still.
but we did speak with
Are you
Jen.
having trouble hearing, Jack?
I don't have my hearing aids on because they kind of half crapped out on me.
Oh.
But I have a hard time, Linda's got a very soft voice.
I'm just gonna move this a little closer to
Oh, that'd be great,
soft
thank you.
voices.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Get away from
Sorry.
So we're hoping to maybe speak with Becky, just to maybe ask about the directives, a little more clarity there and what we can't do because of what Fishin had said, so.
And Mike Torello said, you gotta start with your sales.
Yeah,
So we're
Sure.
gonna have to review what has sold, and I know on, I think it might have been Hickory Hills, there was, Denise was just showing me a big sale of a house. Big money, you know, right on Hickory Hills. Well, that same house is not gonna sell for the same down in Whalum.
yeah.
But you have to, somehow we're gonna have to break it out with that, you know, that one neighborhood, one site index, a 1, but we have to get rid of that good
Oh, yeah.
average and
Yeah.
below.
So-
It just really needs to be more equitable.
Yeah.
It's represented by the sales.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think that it's there yet.
So
No.
we may wind up saying that a private lake is more valuable because it's private.
Right,
Or we may say, because you don't have access, no, other people don't
there's
have
no
access
boat
to it.
launches, there's no
you know,
public beaches.
So maybe it's less valuable.
There's
And,
no
you know, I don't know what
campground.
we're gonna find when we dig into it. I personally would like to have all waterfront as a neighborhood, and then work from there.
Right,
So,
And have the sales support those factors that you
Yep.
put in.
Yeah.
That's,
So we have some work to do,
Yeah.
obviously.
So,
And have that
Yeah.
actually written somewhere, so.
yes, so we know what the criteria are. What a thought, criteria. One of the first conversations I had when I got on the board was with an applicant on Sunset Lane who wanted to understand what all the factors were and what all the criteria were, and I said, I don't know, and as I dug in further, I realized there really is not much criteria. So, I believe there was a request for public documents, and we didn't have any public documents to give them.
Well, we sent him.
We will have it.
We sent,
We
we
had
did
everything we
send-
had,
yes, in the report that MFS did.
Yep.
Because that
Yeah.
was basically how,
but
Those
we need
inputs
to
were
make sure
determined.
that when we do this, we have clear criteria. Here's how, why this factor is the way it is, and we can go down through any particular property and say, this one's sold and it had these factors on it. So we've got to reduce or increase the impact it has on the average sale.
And honestly, if we have the sales, it's easy to group and do the stats to understand that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know, like, if we can extract out the land. That's the thing is you
Well,
obviously,
you
we
have
have-
to back into the land value, so I'm sorry,
do.
Jack, you started to.
No, you're right on, you think the same thing. I'm saying, how do we handle that fact that after it goes past 1 acre, all of a sudden our curves change dramatically? And now I believe in the circuit breaker, the laws just changed and.
No.
That's not about the value of the
No.
that's not about how we value the properties, so you gotta be careful,
Okay.
keep them separate.
Okay, if we're not valuing that way, then.
And I saw our assessors shaking their heads about the land curve changing suddenly. Do you guys want to clarify that?
no, it's your primary site
Right.
is gonna conform to zoning. And anything over that 80,000 square feet is excess land. So in your neighborhoods that, in fact, I was looking at one today, it's an application you're gonna have coming up, and he complained about his land value, and he's got a big parcel. And he had given us a bunch of other, he thought were comparable, but a lot of them were in chapter land. But that excess acreage, your primary site, I looked at his primary site, it was 155,200. Most of the others that were in that neighborhood, that primary site, it's all the same, it's 155,200 for that 80,000 square feet.
Right.
Yeah.
And where it differs is your backland, your residual
And
land.
if they're in chapter, there's.
If they're in chapter,
less,
it is, yeah.
less.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyway, so the other refreshing or reassuring thing is, right now, there's 27,500 in the proposed budget under the capital, because this is more like a capital item in that it is not recurring. It's only gonna happen for a couple of years while we get this straightened out, and then it goes away, so it shouldn't be part of the normal operating budget. It needs to be in the capital plan though, and we should plan ahead so that we know we're gonna be spending some money again next year and the year after to get this thing straightened out. We don't know yet how much, but, I think 27,500 is a good starting point for us to actually kick this off and get moving. So, the reason I wanted to talk about today was just to make sure that everybody knew that we are actively trying to get this thing started, kicked off. That we have a plan for how we're gonna get some quotes. And we already have at least one situation in which we had a refusal, I'm not quoting it, so, okay, great. So we may not have to have 3 quotes because we can't even get 3 quotes, who knows?
And in honesty, changing neighborhoods is not something Vision does.
No, right,
Yeah.
They're a
Okay.
revale company.
right,
They're not in there to create new neighborhoods
Right.
and such.
right.
Okay.
And so I can understand Mike's hesitance, because they can't do it, they don't want to do it because they can't do it, because they're a revaluation company. That's basically what they are.
I see.
Yep.
Okay.
So, thank you for that update. Any other questions on this one, Jack? Sarah?
No.
I just think, Brian, it sounds like you and I have an opportunity. We can start midnight. Neighborhood factoring company.
Yeah, Joe's,
We do it at night. We do it at night, right? We don't.
Joe's Neighborhood Factors.
Yeah.
You too could be, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, you do. I love it.
The
Okay.
next item, the deed letter.
The next item was the letter for the deeds. I drafted this up after I took what Linda had put together, sort of modified it based upon the conversation that I had with town council. It's not as strong as Linda would like it worded, because often she was she was demanding things. And town council suggested that we can't tell people they have to go spend money on something that they think they already spent the money on, but we can ask them to. So we're asking rather strongly, we're sending stuff back to them with a request, and if they send it back to us, then we'll have to figure out what our next steps are. One of the things that's not addressed in here, I don't think I addressed it in here, was the suggestion from town council that we could actually pay for a title search. And the title searches can be simple ones, come back 50 years, or we could have a really in-depth one that goes back 150 years.
And
They
they
get
can
more
be-
expensive.
They
Yeah.
can get very expensive.
If it's a simple one, it's not very expensive, it's a couple $100. If it's 150 years, you're probably spending a lot more money to get that title search done. We have a lot of situations, especially recently, where we have lots and lots of parcels where it's not clear who owns what,
Yeah.
and how we go about taxing them. So we may wind up having to spend, in some cases, some substantial money to get it fixed, or to understand it, because in some cases, we just can't understand what the deed says.
It's ridiculous.
So, this was just to make sure everybody knew what the letter, the draft of this letter is. If there's something in there you want to change, I know Linda wants to say,
That sounds good.
I don't feel like we should have to pick up the cost of this because an attorney wrote this and essentially just copied another deed.
well,
They
Yes.
copy and paste.
if
Yeah.
you ever spoken to an attorney about this, this is something Adam actually did in his earlier career. They are discouraged from changing the wording on any deeds, because then they have to start the whole thing back over. If it's been okayed, and it's been, for the last 50 years, it's the
No
deeds.
changes.
The deeds have been fine, then why would you change even a comma? He said, will cause just, you have to go back and do a much deeper dive. So if we can do a title search, that may help us to understand what the hell this deed is trying to say. In some cases, it may not, because some of these deeds are written so poorly.
Yeah, but like title
Yeah.
searches are really expensive. There's
Yeah.
plenty of property in town that
Yeah.
it's unclear.
Yep.
Well, if that's the case, then the deed that had 22 acres, it doesn't match consistently. How could you not edit that? That isn't even relative of the property.
So we will send the package back to people with this letter and say, we request you actually fix this because we can't read it.
Yeah.
And until we are
And
comfortable
highlight the
that
22 acres.
we can,
Yeah.
I'm gonna charge for 22 acres.
Yeah.
until we are comfortable that we know how to
Yeah.
read it, what it means, then we can't do anything with it.
And we can't put it into our CAMA system,
Correct.
and we can't correct the bill.
Correct.
So that's kind of the issue is,
So when people come in and complain about their bill, you go, oh, sorry, fix your deed.
yeah, yeah.
I can't,
Go talk to your attorney.
I can't change your bill until your attorney tells me what the deed really says, because I can't read it.
Yeah.
I guess the confusion to me is, what does our assessor do when there's like 6 parcels in this subdivided 22 acre and they're all referencing the same acre? Do we just pile them on the same? Just for an example,
So
bill them
is-
all for the 22
we-
acres?
We haven't
I mean-
really had a big problem with it
Yeah.
in the past. I don't know why it's a big problem today.
Yeah, okay.
It does seem to be a big problem today.
And it's lake property.
Yeah, a lot of
It's
it.
almost always been lake property.
We have 7
And
addresses
There's a
the
lot of
same.
questions, we have 7 addresses that are the same.
On Sunset that are exactly the same.
Yeah, I actually saw that
Yeah.
when I was messing around.
Brian, was there more problems on the lake properties? I wouldn't be surprised.
It is
if
more,
somebody's-
because they're subdivided so small.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody peels off a piece, I'm gonna give this to my sister-in-law. Well, your sister-in-law doesn't really own that piece of property, but she built a house on it. Now we're getting credit, we're taxing her for it, but we're not sure she owns the property. Well, the deed says, well, you know, the deed doesn't really say. So it's more frequently on lakefront property.
So do we say to those people when they come in for an abatement, I'm sorry, your deed
I can't read it.
says this, so
Yep.
until you get that deed corrected, this is
Well,
what you're gonna pay?
the-
Like,
Yeah.
that's,
Basically,
that's
yeah.
what we have to do,
That's the only leverage we have.
yeah.
Well, I have the homeowner on Sunset that sold all this off. This is the
Yeah.
first deed that started it. It had 3 parcels from, I think, what was it, 21? And Rena and I spent 5 hours trying to
Yep.
figure out this deed, and we went from 21 to 22, and we didn't even figure it out.
Right.
Because it's
The-
been,
End of
They'll
the
just
day-
get charged for the property.
End of the day, there was no conclusion.
no. And then when it didn't add up to 22 acres, we said, well,
Yeah.
we can't.
There's no way any of that
Yeah.
could have added up to 22
Yeah.
Ever.
acres.
Right.
Yeah, so, but, yeah.
So, I mean, I sent this back to Lynn and said, you know, suggest where we can make it stronger, and I think she kind of went, well, I don't know. But I think it's at least an indication that we don't know what the hell you're trying to tell us.
Yeah,
Tell us again, differently.
Well, at least you have a document that says to them, hey,
We tried,
we told you this was a problem.
right?
And
What you
only
chose
they
to do with it is
yeah.
up to you.
Well, I guess the statement, we cannot change our property record, our property database nor billing software until we understand that what your deed
It's
contains.
about as straightforward as you can get.
Yeah.
So we,
Can't fix it.
yeah,
Oh, you don't like it? Can't fix it.
no,
You wanna go get it fixed? Get your deed fixed.
yeah.
And you're gonna have to-
Otherwise, here's the bill.
You're gonna have to keep track of who you sent the letters to
Yeah, yep. We
That's
are.
true.
on their file.
And we've got a file of deeds that is growing.
Yeah. Is there a way to notate that in the,
On the part of the record card?
yeah,
Uh,
Is there some place to put a note on the
Well,
property?
yeah, you can do
Deed
public
letter
notes
sent.
and private notes
Yeah.
on the
Oh,
property
well,
record cards.
That's
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Jack, you'd like that too, right? Be able to track this stuff, what a thought.
You know how many times my property line has moved since I've lived there?
Never?
Oh, no. When I first moved there, guess what? My house was actually on the water. Because what happened is they just decided that they're gonna ignore the road, and they cut when the designs were, basically you put 2 lots in behind each other, drew the line down the middle, and that was it.
So
my house
your property
on
was
the-
bisected by a road, but that
So
happens
he
in some
has-
cases.
But that's got nothing to do
He
with
has bought
it.
from
Later
property.
on, about 15, 20 years
Yeah.
ago, or 30 years ago, whatever, 86 or something, they came back and said, okay, now you have a new lot in the front, and your other house, where your real house is in the other side of the road, way in the back. And they did that to everybody on the street. Now, meantime, all the property markers were all screwed up as well, so one day, somebody came by and repounded stakes in it. All I know was I lost 10 feet of my property on a hill where I just built my greenhouse. And so we had to go and make the deal with the neighbors next door for a right of use. You can't sell a lot, but you can deed in a right of use. So they're all screwed up around the lakes,
Yeah.
and I figured maybe that's consistent with other places too, but I don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
All I know is that
It
and
is.
the town did change it. I say thank you very much to the town, but that wasn't the point. The point was that, what do I really own? And then that's where I was thinking that, if there's any kind of question, go out with them and show us your property stakes. Or where your fence is. A fence becomes a boundary after a while, after, what is it, how many years? 15 or something like that?
20,
That
yeah.
becomes a kind of a de facto property line?
Adverse possession.
I don't know, but I think that you have the right to go out and measure it and say, guess what, you live there. And then, I don't know.
Now,
All I know is it's a pain in the butt.
having said that, this happens more frequently or more often on lakefront properties or lake properties. It happens everywhere because I have a neighbor who believes that his neighbor has taken 10 feet of his frontage.
Yeah.
And
I
it
know.
affected his ability to subdivide his back lots. And they've both had it surveyed, and their surveys don't agree.
Yeah.
That's almost the way.
Yeah.
You get two different companies.
So what do you do with that? I don't know.
And then there's right of way.
He's gonna, well.
And
if-
trees in the
if-
right of way
if
that
the
fall on
trees-
cars that are not in the right of way. Just,
Yeah.
Okay,
let's move on.
Okay.
thank you. So this is the letter.
Yep.
We're- Unless do we have to make a motion that this be the letter, or?
I think so.
Okay.
I motion to make this the letter that we send when there's a deed problem.
I second that.
And we,
All in
okay.
favor?
Hi, John Raymond.
I, Sarah Cammer.
Aye, Brian LaFond. There you go, you have a letter.
We have that?
Now you can send stuff back to people and say,
Okay, good. Do we
Yeah.
need to let Adam Costa review this?
oh, that's,
And we
I'm
can
sorry.
blame it on
So,
Rena.
so after all of that, before it goes out, we need to send it to Adam to make sure that he's okay with the
Yeah,
wording.
good, yeah.
This was with you.
No, I sat down with Adam, I wrote this up,
Okay.
I sent the copy to him, he did not respond, because he wants to not respond until such time as the board has taken a position, so,
Okay, got it.
thank you for reminding me.
Bummer.
Okay, assessor website.
Okay, I got stuff on that.
What are the, well, I just have a couple quick questions. This versus last year's stuff, is that up on the website yet?
I did send it to her. I need to check
I
that.
couldn't find it.
Oh, you couldn't?
It doesn't mean it's not there,
Yeah.
it does mean I couldn't find it, so that, we're probably gonna lead right into Jack on
Okay.
this.
No, not yet.
I'll follow
No
up
things
with
they
her.
couldn't find.
Okay, because what I wanted to do, what I was hoping to do was actually put this versus last, 23 to 24, and 24 to 25, sort of together someplace.
She was gonna try to find where that was. I couldn't find that. I know we talked about that.
I couldn't find it either, and then she was able to pull it right up, and I was like, well, okay, that's right there, and then,
I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
I looked for it a
it's,
while
I
ago.
don't know where it is.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
there's too much stuff in that website.
well, it's just,
Or it needs to be sorted a little bit easier so that we can find stuff like that.
I haven't had a chance, Mr. Rabbit, to go out, you said it was the police that had a nice table of
Well, they had a
contents?
picture up there. They did a nice job with regard to posting their procedures, and I didn't see any policies, but they did a nice job.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that was okay. I also point you to a couple other town websites that did a beautiful job. But anyway, let me get to my pile of stuff. Stop laughing, Sarah.
I'm not laughing, I'm eating an M&M.
Oh, okay.
Would you like
Hey,
one?
anyway, first of all,
I'd love
the
one.
reason why, oh, can I have one? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, so anyway, the reason why I know that someone's coming in
Yeah,
next week
sorry.
is
I
that
don't want to put my
Colby,
hands on.
Someone's
Thank
coming
you.
in next week?
she's gonna drop off the deferral and the circuit breaker next week,
I'm sorry, who?
early next week.
Why would
So in
we
either
do
Wait,
case-
wait, wait,
that?
you said somebody's coming in, who's coming in? I didn't hear it.
Okay, someone's gonna deliver to us a deferral application along with the accompanying circuit breaker.
No, circuit
We
breaker,
don't-
we have nothing to do with.
Circuit breaker does not happen
Early,
in
you
our
have to
office.
provide the circuit breaker, copy of the circuit breaker.
Oh, her tax return?
Oh,
Because-
yes, okay, so I'm sorry. I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about a form that somebody was going to.
No. So anyway,
Voice the fund.
I asked her, I said, well, she goes, that was just a great conference. And I go, I don't remember seeing you there. And she's basically said, oh, I watched it on the video.
It was a good video.
And she goes, that was really, she's very, very happy about it. I said, okay. So I'm saying, let me go check to see which ones have gone up. And I checked the town website, there's nothing about that conference.
I need the video.
Video's not up.
For him.
It's not on our assessor site.
It's on- it's
Nor
out
is it
there.
on the senior
It is?
center. It wasn't posted yet up there.
I found it on the assessor's site, but I don't know where you.
Was
On
it
our
working?
assessors
Because
site?
it wasn't working
I
before.
watched your presentation, and I
Oh,
thought it was
she
a
must
great
have-
presentation.
It's on YouTube.
We cleaned it up. It was a YouTube?
Yep.
Is that where you found
Okay.
it? Okay, yeah,
must have
because
found it.
it's, in terms of general public being able to see it, unless they know where to look on YouTube.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh,
Yeah, I'm
It's
trying to
also-
get as many people to become aware.
It was posted on the
And,
town
uh,
Facebook site, too.
It's not in the town news, it's not on our site, and it's not at the senior center yet, and I gotta call Deb on that one and say, hey, I thought we were getting it up, but I think they all go through Kara.
It
Kara
is
loads
Yeah.
everything in.
It is on the Lunenburg Public Access Facebook page.
It is under there, okay, maybe that's where she found it.
Actually, I think that's where I found it.
He was having an
Lunenburg
issue
Public Access?
with the
Okay.
link, so Kara couldn't put it on the site, so I don't know if she found it, the right link, because it was,
Well, as I said, I'm pretty sure I went through the YouTube site,
oh,
not through the town site, so.
okay.
So we'll take a look at that.
Okay, that'd be great, then we can get more people interested and we can help more people.
I will need a
Uh,
link from him.
Linda,
I'm
I
sorry.
love your performance metrics.
Linda's asking for
Oh,
something.
Yeah. You know how you were having an issue with that link for the video? We need a,
First link, yeah.
we need
Yeah, coming
a
down.
link from you so we can put that on the website.
Okay, I'll resend up there was a first one that went up and it was shaky and nothing it was all blurry.
Yeah.
So I went back the following day, spent a couple hours sitting down with Joe at her house, and we cleaned it all up. So,
Quite
and I
quite
think I said
honestly,
that to
I prefer the way you did it, rather than following some talking head around. The form was right there while the head was talking, so you knew what the
Right,
hell you
right.
were looking at. I really liked it
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
lot.
that's nice.
I wanted to compliment, this conference went off really well. And
it's
the
getting,
way it's presented, on the YouTube site is really nice. I really like it a lot, so in spite of the fact that, it had some things there I was not happy with, overall, I was thrilled with most of it, so.
I had, okay, we won't go to that part, but I
Nope.
pulled a ton of it out of it. Okay, anyway, so, if we can get that up and get Kara to get there,
Yeah,
then
if you
we'll get
send the
more
link over to Linda, I
responses.
think we'll get that all set.
Okay.
I said
thank you.
Linder, sorry.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Linda, on our website, we have in the toolbox, we have a performance metrics section. You're giving us this data, which is matching up a lot with what's going on. It's kind of filling things up. Go to the website, and there's a section called performance metrics. There is,
Yeah.
honest to God.
So what are you asking?
What's it?
I'm just saying, can we start populating that? You might have a different name for it, change the names, but start populating the data that you're sharing with us. Okay, like,
I'm not
how many
sure. I'm not sure.
how many
what you're
exemptions
looking
did we process? How many abatements did we get
Oh.
requested? How many
What's
site
that?
inspections did you get done? Those
Your
kinds
monthly
of
reports?
things that you
Yeah.
tell
I
us
could.
about.
I can
So
send it to
Jack,
Kara.
would it suffice to have her put up her monthly report every month?
I hear you,
I can
That
ask-
takes
I
care of
hear you.
all the numbers that you
for.
were
And it's
just
just a
talking
link.
about.
That's
Yeah.
it.
but that's just a one-time shot.
Every
If
month.
you
No, every
put it in
month.
It's every
pictures,
month.
you
It's
can-
not a one time, it's every month. It's updated every
Right,
month.
right. It's a one-time shot that gets that hopefully you can see a trend if you put 12 months up there. And it allows you to understand what kind of load you're under and everything else. And you're just recording metrics year to date versus month to date. But they are metrics, and there's others, and I think that the assessors would be certainly looking at it in terms of when you can expect loads. And for that matter, some of the citizens would be kind of shocked with the amount of volume that's going on.
So,
So I would think that we need to start considering populating some of that.
so,
So that's one thing.
we're-
And then the policies section, it's blank still, and I don't know, is there gonna be a policies process here? Is that what are we gonna just kind of spit them out, or are we gonna create a list of things that we think we need policies around?
we've talked
Before
about some things we need.
Yeah, we
policies.
form before we storm over it?
We've talked about some things we probably need to do policies on, but I haven't seen anything written up by anybody as far as what a policy is.
No, we're
Except
all
for some stuff
guilty.
that
I mean, we are starting some with like the deeds, that's kind of a policy.
And we could put that out there, yes. So, it's incumbent upon us to put that stuff out there, to create the policies. They aren't created. We've talked a lot about policies, but we haven't
Right.
done a damn thing about them, quite honestly.
Right,
So,
right.
at least in my opinion.
We've been busy with other things.
Because we
This-
have to
this
keep the office running. The business,
Yes.
the day-to-day business has to happen, and
Right.
nothing else gets in the way of that. So.
If you don't
when we have
collect the
time,
money, you can't run the business, and we're all about
There you
collecting
go.
money, so.
There you go, so.
No, we
uh,
don't collect it.
we don't collect it, that's the tax collector, and we have to be careful about that, where that delineation
don't-
is.
But we
had
have
a
to send the
lot of
billing. We-
discussions
The bills
about
don't
that.
get collected.
Oh, we don't send the billings either, do we?
No.
Okay, we gotta figure out what the bills are.
So, was that it?
No. No. We were, in the other places, in some of the other websites, they actually dedicate a section to circuit breaker, and they also dedicate a section to deferrals. We don't have a dedicated section in there.
You're not
We
gonna
do
get a
have, if you
dedicated,
wanna look in the handbook.
you're not
and
gonna
go
get
big-
you're not gonna get a dedicated section on circuit breaker on the assessor's website. Because I'm gonna vote
I'll show
against
you
it
towns.
every time.
I'll show you
So
towns that do
let's
it.
be clear.
We don't
I'm
do
not
that.
gonna put it out there. So maybe Sarah will vote for it, but I don't think so, but I know I'm never voting for that. So we can stop talking about that one until you have another member on here.
I'm gonna send you the link to go take
I
a
don't
look at
care,
it nicely.
I don't care. You don't have to prove anything to me, I believe it. I'm just not gonna entertain it at all. We have way too much to do to tell people that we can help them with their friggin' circuit breaker.
I'm not asking him to, I'm just saying.
By putting it out there, by putting it on the assessor's
We're gonna
website,
get questions.
yeah, you automatically guarantee the
Yeah,
questions that come into the
questions.
assessor's website.
We're gonna have
So we're
confused
not doing it.
residents.
So, can we move on to something else? Yes, you're right, the other things, the deferrals, okay, sure, no problem. We ought to have
Yeah,
stuff
well,
out there with the
they've got a
deferrals.
nice
The exemptions, we've already got a lot of stuff out there about the exemptions, put stuff out there about the deferrals,
Deferrals
put out
in
stuff
there.
about the abatements, that's all stuff we do.
Yeah.
We don't
Deferrals aren't
do-
in there.
Yeah.
Circuit breaker.
Okay, let's put deferrals in there, how's that?
I said that.
Yeah, okay.
We
I'll
only have,
send you what
there's only
the towns
one
need.
deferral that I know of, right? So,
Uh-oh, Linda's going, no, I'm gonna kill you both.
Well, we just have so many things, Jack, to focus on.
I
and
know,
we
hon,
keep-
I know, I call, I know.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm so busy with everything, I just, we gotta get a little more focused on the things that we're working on here.
Yeah,
so,
okay. And if you want, was the financial hardships section in that list? I don't have the agenda in front of me. But
Which
I know,
list?
maybe I wanna save that to the end. Brian, you wrote
which,
back,
which list? You
it was
said
the
in that
financial
list.
hardship section, 3.8.
What, clause 18 was not on our form because nobody's applied for clause 18, ever. Now, having said that, we are starting to look into it and try to figure out how we go about making that available.
Yeah.
What we don't want to, it is a run on the banks, because
It's gonna be tough.
it's, what we don't want is a run on the banks. So if we're gonna do it, we, not Linda, need to figure out what the policy is as far as what the financial, what the criteria are for financial
Yeah.
hardship. And by the way, I find, based on what I've seen so far, we're gonna be hard pressed to have anybody that's actually gonna qualify.
Right. One of the questions is, do you have to be over 65? That doesn't seem to be just
No,
falling.
no,
But
that's not a question. It says of a certain age, so pick an age, I don't care what it is, that's
Right.
not a question. There are no, it's clear, we have a lot of latitude, but we need to be able to put together our set of criteria to make
Yes.
somebody eligible for it, and we haven't done that, so you wanna put together a proposal for that? Fine, I'd love to see it, cause we'll talk about it next time.
A future
Okay.
agenda.
But.
Because we just went through some heart-wrenching,
Well, we hear them all the time, and
Yeah,
are,
and
they
if
come
we
into
just-
the office all the time, and our folks do a great job of talking to these people and figure out what it is they really need and what the situation is and where we can help them, we help them.
yeah.
So if you
Good to
want
be
to come up
helping
with a
us.
preliminary set of criteria for qualifying for 18, clause 18, feel free to bring it to us, give us
Yeah,
a day or two to look at it before the next meeting.
right. I wasn't expecting, I was just trying to hope we could get on the agenda and get folks
Well, it's
think about
something
this.
we have started to research, because when we realize that it's sitting out there and nobody uses it, if you look around the state, it's not
Nobody
used
uses-
very often.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not,
I don't know.
as far as I know, I've only known of one person that told us they ever used it. Now, having said that, I don't talk to them all. So you may know of more, but I don't. But I do know of at least one, so it's been used. It's not like it's
Yeah.
impossible, but it's very rare that you would have that situation, so.
Okay,
So-
let me put some stuff together, and I will
I
be.
can send you
if I
some of the
can help
stuff I've
somebody,
already
I will
done.
Do that.
I could
What's
send you, I could send you some of the stuff I've already found on.
Yeah, that's what you said.
I only
I
found
looked-
one community that actually wrote up criteria.
Okay,
I'll send it
let's
over.
build on that. Let's take that someplace and see where it takes us.
8 of 58, we have to do that.
I'm sorry, we're not on that. We're still on the 18.
Yeah, but that's kind of a priority too, 8 of 58.
Oh, yeah, and it wasn't really talked about.
Yeah, I
either.
didn't talk about that, but
Okay, anything else that you want to talk about?
No, I'm good.
Thank
And
you.
just that, again, I will put something, if we can, I'll drag something in terms of the deferral, I'll send that information over to you with regard to what the other towns have loaded up, and if we can just get it loaded in someplace. Okay.
We have, I'll send you the stuff that I found on 18.
Okay,
I have it here, but I don't have I have a hard copy. Linda just
and,
mentioned.
so there's one other thing. 3.4, the 41 eligibility factors need to be updated in the actual manual itself.
What?
The numbers, some of the numbers.
What are you talking about?
Eligibility forms for the eligibility for 41. I'll grab it, I'll mark it and send it over to you,
He's talking about the email he sent out.
okay? It's just that there are some of the things that we changed that haven't really been reflected back in the manual.
What manual?
Which manual?
Our website. And it's in the handbook manual, it's buried in your toolbox, and
I
yeah,
have no clue what you're
3.4.
talking about, Jack. You need to start at the beginning.
okay,
What is it that you want?
3.4.
What is 3.4?
Let me just send them to you. It's
No,
easier.
is this part of, is this part of 18?
Clause 18, I don't know.
Is that part of?
I'm only
Is it
going
part
through
of
the
this?
handbook.
Where the hell's there it is. Is
There
it
you
part
go.
of that?
Yeah,
What is it, we have all this, what do you need?
I believe that some of the numbers in terms of what we allow are not necessarily up to date.
that's a module. We don't
Well,
update that.
it's not a set
this-
amount on clause 18.
Eligibility
Well, yeah, it's not
factors
just
need update.
Yeah, so, I think I know what you're saying finally. Some of the stuff that the state is reporting for our criteria around eligibility is not caught up with all of the stuff that we got passed over the last year or two. So I don't know if it says 65 or 70 for
Yeah.
the age. I think it says 70.
You're talking about the database for the state.
Yep, they haven't caught up with our stuff
Oh,
yet.
that's the town clerk.
And it's ultimate, well, I know. So now that I understand what I think you're talking about, or at least part of what you're talking about, it's up to the town clerk to make sure that that stuff gets recorded to the state. I'm not convinced that the state is aware of all the changes that we've made so far.
You're
You,
absolutely correct.
me,
I believe
and
that.
Sarah have really
Yeah.
put a focus on trying to get these exemptions straightened out, and we've changed a lot of criteria, and I don't think it's all sitting out there at the state yet. So,
And if
good
it's-
call.
And if it's something that
Once
passed
I
in
figure
Well,
out.
town
thank you
meeting.
for putting up with my,
Yeah, I thought he was talking about his.
Once I figured out what you were talking about, well, when you started going 3.4, no,
That's a different
Yeah.
email.
you're
the
talking
thing
about.
is, I was
this
referencing the
module?
handbook numbers and not
That's-
the actual
yeah, that-
legislation.
Well,
numbers.
it's,
Okay,
it's all, yeah, right, thank you, okay. Actually,
okay.
I brought the 18 and 18A with me. I have a form from, I don't know who the hell this is from. For the financial hardship, and I have the chapter 7, or the, chapter 7 handbook thing. So, we, okay, I think we're on the same page.
We
I
are,
hope.
Brian. You do a better job describing
I hope,
things.
well, thank you. Linda mentioned something that was not on the agenda, but it is something that we've been talking about and we need to follow up on, and I was hoping we'd get some more closure on it sooner, but we haven't been able to get there. That's that A to 58 application that we really want to move forward with. So, I don't know what kind of time you're gonna have to put together in the next couple of weeks. I don't know that you do have time, but it's something we need to do in a more timely fashion.
Yeah,
So, I'll volunteer to come help you if you need help.
yeah, maybe we answer 8 to 58. I think we go on the,
There's a form.
There's a form right online, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think
know
it's
that.
just Gateway and then
Yeah.
But we can use, remember the applicant
sent an email. I'm
sent
gonna
us
use
a
her
copy of
information.
something that said, this sounds exactly like me.
Yeah,
I thought, well, I'd love to use that, and it was a successful 8 to 58,
Yeah.
which is so rare. So I really wanna get moving on that, and I'd like to help with that if you want.
I have
That'd
some
be great.
documentation, so if, I'm not sure if there's a way to upload that documentation that was provided by the applicant, because that would be supportive.
We should be able to find out where they got it.
Well, I have actual documentation from the applicant, so if
Yep.
we can upload that to the
Yep.
website,
Yep.
that would be great. I'm hoping we can.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to defer us onto, or deflect us onto that, but that's a good call. It's something that needs to be looked at sooner rather than later. Next thing on the agenda was the annual report. Everybody got a copy of what the annual report is? Linda added in all the financials that we have on here. Is there anything about the annual report that we'd like to change immediately, because we'd have to.
I had to submit it.
We'd have
because
to change it
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
And do I see it? I don't.
Okay. Do we don't need to vote on this, it's already done.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Where's that other thing that I have, for the warrant?
Okay.
Um,
Overlay. What the hell is it?
Oh, yeah. I have, let's see.
Did
I printed it out, but it was really small.
Well, so, we had a meeting with Ezzy last week, and he said he was gonna provide all the backup information we needed for an analysis of the overlay. And then he didn't send anything till this morning, and what he sent this morning was just a reflection of the 2020, this year's situation. How much money we put aside and how much money we haven't yet spent. We haven't yet spent about $50,000. I said, we got way more than that. He said, no, that's all we've got. And I said, no, because we've been building it up for the last several years. Oh.
What he said.
So he sent another report over, and if I could find it, I can tell you the number, but I believe.
I have it.
I believe the number was $790,000 in our overlay account.
Do you want to look at what I have? I wasn't able to print out, this is really hard to read. I couldn't do it 11 by 17. So I bring makeup and different glasses.
Excuse me real quick, can you just move the microphone a little bit? It's under the papers right
Oh,
now.
Sorry.
oh, sorry.
My fault.
You're good, sorry about that.
Anyway, so we're gonna have to make a recommendation to the town manager about how much we want to put aside in the overlay, in the budget for next year.
Oh,
Having said that,
did you see that copy there? And then I have there's an email too.
yeah, no, I had printed off on 2 pages, yeah, $795,000.
And then, I don't know if you need that, that has the amount that's
This was the
been,
50,000, right?
yep.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
50,000 is unspent from this year, which means our number last year was probably 735, 745, and we've added 50 to it right now. We're gonna spend more of it because we are still doing some abatements, but we aren't gonna spend that much of the overlay number.
I'm glad we didn't increase the amount.
Well, having said that, it looks like our spending for this year
Was higher, right?
maybe higher than last year. I thought it was already in excess of 200,000, but apparently I was given the wrong.
Yeah, because we had information about this before that got sent to us,
Yep,
and it contradicts this information.
yep.
Imagine that.
I can't believe I can't find that. I just pulled it all out, put it in a folder today.
I mean, the previous information said we spent more,
It did.
but that we had enough in the overlay, so it didn't.
We have plenty.
Right.
So what?
And this says we haven't yet spent it.
This says we have 50,000 left
Yes.
to be spent.
Yes, and the other one said we
We
were
said-
down 15.
We thought we set aside 120,000 last year.
Yeah.
120 something, but it looks like we put 202 in there somehow.
On the recap sheet, when you're doing the recap sheet,
Yep.
when the numbers, sometimes when the accountant puts all the numbers in, what you have in the overlay account, anything that is excess or doesn't match up goes. The way they reconcile it goes into the overlay.
Oh, they just dump it in.
They dump it into the overlay.
So that explains a lot, because we did not allocate that.
We
We arguing about.
proposed 120,
Yeah,
which Mr. Abbott said was not enough. He was
Yeah.
right.
yes,
Having said that, it wound up becoming something like 127 or 128 when the budget was
Right.
finally finalized.
and we released some of the overlay.
And we
When-
released 25,000 for the overlay.
Because when you're doing that, when you're doing the recap sheet, you have your estimated receipts and then your actuals. And if you're estimated if your actuals
They're higher
are
than
higher than what you estimated, the way they even all that is anything that is kind of over, like an overage, it gets adjusted on the overlay account. I've had overlays go up $40,000 when we went to set the tax rate.
Oh,
So it gets dumped into the overlay account.
so
So we're the
Seven.
slush fund.
we're the slush fund.
We're the slush fund.
For our department.
Well, yes.
Well.
Yes.
Yeah, because it says our amount raised was 202,811.
Right. That was what
And that-
surprised me.
Yeah, which is, that's 82.
It's 80,000,
83,000.
it's 75,000 more than we thought because it had gotten moved to 127.
Mm-hmm.
So, bottom line is, we need to come up with an overlay recommendation. I'm hoping that by our next meeting, Linda can work up a number with this analysis of the data that we have. And I'll help you with that if you want to give us, it's gonna be probably more than 120. Probably ain't gonna be 300.
All
So-
your abatements and all your exemptions. all
Linda,
comes
Well,
out.
that
does it
makes
all
sense then,
have
that-
to be,
Pulling
To
25,000
cover
out.
total amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Sorry.
does it all have to be just exemptions in there?
Abatements and exemptions, real estate,
Abatements and exemptions?
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not motor vehicle, just real estate.
Okay.
And-
So, back to my favorite topic, deferrals.
no,
So,
no.
Where'd that come from? Where does that come from?
we have to have a conversation with the
It gets
financial
deferred.
manager, because it's deferred, but it winds up sitting in there as, on the books, as a future asset,
Right.
right?
It's still an asset.
It's still an asset, so therefore, I think in many cases, they may keep a separate file for that,
Yeah.
and they'll probably take the money out of free cash and put it back into free cash when it comes back. I don't know that, but I don't think it touches any of our other,
No.
Right.
It's 'cause they moved it,
overlay
right?
accounts at all.
This is the moved
Uh,
up
what,
line.
I was afraid that they were gonna hit overlay the first year. It would only be the first year,
Overlay account.
right?
That's what, no.
That's what I'm thinking. They'll take it out of there.
25,
Right.
but-
There won't be that much.
Right.
I mean, if we're lucky, we're gonna get, not even between now and then, if we're lucky for next year, if we get 20.
If the overlay is the slush fund,
If that's what.
guess where it's gonna come from?
That's where it's gonna go sit. They're gonna take it out and they stick it over another piece of an asset, and the asset's called like a building or something.
Could be. There's, over-
They could
there's,
produce it.
there's just under $800,000 in the account,
That's a little confusing.
so we're not gonna
800?
run out.
We're not gonna run out at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you pass me that email?
What's that?
That is his email. I just want to see what he said.
He
Oh.
just said there's 50,000 left.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't think
he
we.
meant from this year,
Yeah,
because it got moved to 202.
yeah, the 202 is right on here.
Because it got moved to 202, there's 50,000
202.
left,
811.
which says to me that we spent 152
Yeah.
against what we had budgeted for, 120, call it 127.
Yeah. Well, and
So
our
we
one- our
we
150
overspent it, but we've overspent by a lot.
But our 152 came from also 25,000 being released.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh,
It didn't-
I'm sorry.
It looks like it, yeah.
To 25,000. No, the 25, I don't think it came out of
So
that.
our exemptions and abatements
That's
were
confusing.
127 to 11. Release of
Oh,
was
yes, yes, I'm
25,000.
sorry, the 50, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Yes, so we would have been at 75,
Yeah.
Yeah, they released that.
so we would have only overspent by nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow,
We
okay.
we would have been just right.
Yeah.
A rare
And
Goldilocks.
by the
To
way,
give
by the
time
way,
hopefully
for all of
somebody.
our,
We set up those cases, but.
all the stuff that we've been doing, last year we had 44 applications for abatements, this year we have 35.
Yeah,
So we have about 75% of what we had last year.
Mhm.
So we can expect to spend about 75% of what we spent last year, unless we had a lot of outstanding ATV cases, which we don't.
Mhm.
We have one or
No, 'cause
two.
one-
Last year we had a couple, this
One.
year we don't have very many at all.
Because there was settlements last year.
Well, as far as we could tell, because, you know, we've asked them to tell us when we have an ATV, and they don't seem to tell us.
yeah.
So the ones that we know of, it says we're probably gonna spend less this year on abatements or out of overlay than we did last year. So we need to make a recommendation to town manager. I asked her today when she needed it by, she said, I don't know.
It's okay.
Well, but I almost guarantee it's gonna be before we meet again.
Yeah,
So we need to figure out what we would recommend. And we can probably wait as long as our next meeting, but I really wanna have a number for her for the next meeting, for overlay.
Well, you probably should do a 5-year average, but don't use,
That's what I did. I took, well, last year I took it out. This year I will take it out again. It's quite easy to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
well, Carter recommended 250, so.
Carter recommended 250.
So go with Carter's.
Maintaining 250?
No, putting putting, it's,
250.
you have to do it every year.
Right.
So we're at 800,000 savings. And he was recommending putting another 250 in this year, which I think is kinda high.
I do.
Yeah, that's a ton of money.
But I'm gonna wait till Linda makes a recommendation at our next meeting before I decide anything, because there are always these factors that you didn't know about that get thrown in and you go, oh crap, well, it changes the situation, so.
Yeah.
So we'll work on that for next
This
time.
is accurate with what we spent for,
Uh,
it's hard to understand that.
I know,
I can't really understand what we've spent so far.
And wasn't the 25,000?
that long
Here,
spreadsheet,
This one
this,
helps.
this I think is the one that tells us
That's
what
what you
really,
want.
where we really are.
Okay.
And it's teeny tiny,
I
and it
can't
says
see
we've
that.
spent, you know,
It's like the second to last column.
we spent 125, we put another 25 away, and we have, out of 202, we have 50 left.
Oh, it looks like we've spent so far 127,000.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
plus
it
the
looks like.
25,000.
Plus the
Uh-huh.
25, yeah,
Uh-huh.
so.
And wasn't the 25 transferred to somebody else?
Doesn't matter, once it's out, once we
Once it's
transfer it
out,
out of,
Yeah, but
It's-
wasn't that a request from the selectmen?
yeah.
Yeah.
The request was how much can you afford to
Take out.
take out? I'm kind of glad we were a little bit conservative, but if you look back over the history, we've had 40,000 here and 20,000 there. So no big bounce have been coming out of there,
Right.
ever. And we hadn't done anything for years, for several years, so.
Because
yeah.
all your exemptions, your veterans, all that comes out of there,
Yep.
as well as your real estate,
Yep.
personal property,
Yep.
abatements.
If there's no more conversation about the FY '26 overlay, I had sent a copy of the proposed clause 41 and 17 assets income level adjustment. When I spoke to town council, he had several suggestions. I have not had an opportunity to rewrite it. The way it's written, it looks like we're modifying the state bylaw. So we probably need to write it so we're just talking about our implementation, and this is about exemptions only, or this is about income only, whatever. So I'll rewrite that based upon his feedback and get a copy back to you guys before our next meeting.
Wait,
Thank you.
was this the placeholder you're talking about, Brian?
Yeah.
The deadline is March 13th
Well, I didn't have any problem with it.
to submit.
Well, if you read it verbatim, it basically says we're changing Massachusetts state law, which we can't do.
No,
You
yeah,
know.
I can't do that.
Okay,
Sections.
sorry.
Too bad.
I know. Still can't believe I
Can we change any of the federal law?
Yeah, nope. Yeah, this draft V1, you have the draft V1?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna amend Mass General Law 59, we're not. We're not. So I'll rewrite it. I apologize.
Well, I read it and
Oh, you wrote to amend Mass General Law?
Uh-huh.
I read it too.
He was tired when he wrote that.
Nobody looking over my shoulder and making sure I don't make any sense. I did have a question before we move on to postponed topics. How to read your vision card,
Do we need to update it? It's,
I think it's got data in it, so we need to change the data.
okay, I can do that.
The library probably hasn't changed a whole lot, though.
But
That's what you used, right?
It's just some numbers.
There's some numbers in there that reflect last year's numbers.
Yeah.
So
I will,
if you wouldn't
I'll look
mind.
up January 8th. and I'll
This is
look up
something we need to keep in mind for future reference though. Whenever we put something out there like that, if we have a specific year in there, we need to figure out how to make sure we update the year, so.
That's actually not too hard. I think
God.
it's actually on our,
Yes.
I think I saved it to our
Shared drive,
shared drive.
I think you did too. Okay,
But that was last year, so I'll go look for it and I'll update it.
thank you. BOA policies, well, we talked a little bit about 18 already, so we need to talk about that, probably not anymore right now.
No, not yet. No problem.
Anything else?
I still have my question.
Mr. Rabbit, okay,
Yeah, remember we were talking about the munis separation and who was gonna load what databases and how much they were gonna try, the accounting department was gonna try and offload on Linda? And I think Linda told them to go take a hike,
I thought we
but I don't know what happened.
We talked about that.
Thought we talked about that, but I'll do it again. And that is, I've had a conversation with Jen, the new town manager, about specifically that issue, what the cutoff is as far as
Right,
where our responsibilities end and someone else's pick up. Well, we did not come to a conclusion together. Based upon her feedback, I think she was reading the situation the same way that I'm reading it, which is we should not be in the financial system in the assessor's office. That really is the responsibility of the finance team. She said, I hear what you're saying. So that means she wasn't taking a position yet because she has not taken a position
Right,
yet.
okay.
But she's new here, she's gotta know what's going on, and we've already broached the subject with her, so I don't know when the next follow-up will be. I'll probably end up spending some time with her in the next few weeks, so. If there's something new by our next meeting, I'll let you know.
Okay.
We all
It was just-
hope that if we moving to the cloud, that we have the most up-to-date system, that all those systems talk to each other, and we don't have to get in there at all.
Well, I know Randolph had issues at billing and they have the cloud version, so
Exactly,
same issues we had.
exactly. So what we have is a consultant who knows how to fix stuff.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
But you're right, this is something I don't wanna drop. I don't want it to drop in the office, in our office forever, because that doesn't make any sense to me, logically.
I was just guaranteed it's gonna get screwed up. Whenever you intersection, where do all your failures happen, Brian?
Right,
Right? Not on the chip, in the interconnect.
right.
That's where they all fail.
Anything else?
Nope.
Our next meeting is scheduled for March 5th, and then March 19th. I believe there may be some travel.
You know I will not be available March 5th.
I
Okay.
believe there may be some travel. He said.
I will not be available March 5th, but I just am putting that out there. It's not
Will
happening.
you be back in town, Mr. Rabbit?
And I'm checking that right now, because things do move a little bit.
Yes, they
A
do.
lot.
I also will not Zoom on March 5th.
What's that?
I will not Zoom.
Right. I don't expect you to be.
Just,
Yeah, I can make it.
Where you headed?
You'll physically
I'll tell you
back
that.
in,
No.
you'll be zooming?
Something she does.
I will be leaving and stopping off in New Jersey, but I should be home in the evening of the 5th. I'm gonna leave on Thursday to get Friday. I might not be, I don't know, I gotta talk to Jane.
The 5th is.
I gotta go see a new grandbaby
the
again.
5th is Wednesday.
5th is a Wednesday. I know, you
Yeah,
guys,
it's a Wednesday.
you guys
Yeah.
proliferate like rabbits.
So to speak.
As much as my family.
Not as much as Rena's, so yeah, okay.
You know,
Just for those of you.
I was gonna,
Go ahead.
I was just saying, Jane, we need to get find a way of getting more people interested in watching what Linda's got to say, you know? And I said, oh, I know, I could start telling a couple of off-color jokes. And she almost threw me off the table. She goes, so, don't you dare embarrass me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
And that was about as close as proliferation like rabbits. That's getting close.
So you may be physically back in Massachusetts on the 5th?
I won't be in Massachusetts for sure, but if I'm up in
So you'll
New
have to
Jersey,
Zoom.
I can do the call at night. Or either that or we're packing up that night before. So either case, I'll give it a 70% probability that I'll be there.
Oh,
So there's if we don't have a quorum, we'll just have to call it off, and we will have to put off abatement discussion until some future
Do you
meeting.
wanna go,
Okay.
Maybe
can you
the
go the
19th.
next week?
I could do March 3rd. It's
Oh.
a Monday.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I don't,
Or the 10th.
I can do March 3rd.
it's not, I have a doctor's appointment on March 3rd. I don't know how I'm gonna be feeling.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you wanna,
I could do March 12th also. Which is the next Wednesday.
March 12th, we'd have to find the location, but if we're doing,
If
if
we.
we're doing abatements, we can do them in the office.
Yeah. So if the.
Let's keep that open.
Yeah.
We'll keep this meeting for whatever it was, the 5th, for now. If we cannot garner a quorum, we will tentatively set up the 12th in the office.
we can do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank
Without
you.
it being recorded.
Thank you.
yeah. Executive session.
Any closing comments from the public? I see no public here.
No open meeting.
Any closing comments from the
This will
board?
be recorded.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session.
Motion to adjourn, not to return to open session.
So that was Sarah,
I move in seconds Sarah's motion.
and you second. All in favor? Please state your
Aye,
name.
John Rabbit.
Hi, Sarah Kimmer.
Aye, Brian LaFont. We are adjourned for the evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will be moving into executive session.